This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the never sound better."
You know, in today's world, saying the wrong thing or even cracking a joke can get you roasted faster than a viral Twitter thread. And that's exactly what Bill Maher has been pointing out lately. Love him or hate him, he's built his career on calling out hypocrisy, especially the kind that hides behind hashtags and fake outrage. This time, he's targeting the self-proclaimed guardians of morality, Hollywood's woke elites, online mobs, and college students who treat being triggered like a personality trait. Here's where it gets interesting. Maher decided he's done with Hollywood's fake resistance, constant virtue signaling, and endless cancel culture witch hunts. So, instead of just complaining, he came up with a new idea, an award show. Not for the usual crowd that wins Oscars for crying on camera or Golden Globes for pretending to care about climate change on the red carpet, but for the rare few who actually stood up to the mob, the ones who didn't delete their tweets, didn't bow down, and didn't beg for forgiveness just to stay relevant.
Here's the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I gotta tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone, and in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm gonna do it right here, right now, and not only that, we're gonna do it every year.
Sounds wild, right? But think about it, isn't that exactly what we're missing today? Real courage, real backbone. Not the kind that earns you applause at some Vanity Fair after-party, but the kind that makes people genuinely respect you. Take J.K. Rowling, for example. She created a global phenomenon, sold millions of books, built a billion-dollar empire, and inspired an entire generation to read. And yet, what is she now? Public enemy number one of the woke mob. Why? Because she had the nerve to suggest that maybe, just maybe, being a woman is about more than lipstick and pronouns. Shocking, right? Suddenly, the same people who grew up worshiping Harry Potter turned on the woman who wrote it, calling her a bigot. Cancel her, burn the books, erase her from history. It's like living through a modern-day witch trial, only now, the torches come in the form of hashtags and angry think pieces.
On the fact that what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
And Rowling isn't the only one. Elon Musk was once Silicon Valley's golden boy, the genius who would save the planet with electric cars and rockets. But the moment he said something that didn't fit the progressive script, boom, overnight villain. Joe Rogan faced the same thing. He was the edgy, open-minded podcaster progressives loved until he started asking the wrong questions, and suddenly he was labeled a dangerous spreader of misinformation. And then there's Maher himself, a liberal firebrand for decades, now seen as too problematic by the very crowd that used to cheer him on. See the pattern here? It's about loyalty. As long as you stay in line, you're safe. The second you step out, you're done. That's the real cruelty of cancel culture. It doesn't care what you've achieved, who you've helped, or what you stand for. Step out of line once, and they'll act like you never existed. So Maher said enough. It's time to celebrate people who actually show courage. And the first award he gives goes to Martha Pollack. president of Cornell University. Because if you've been following college campuses lately, you know they've turned into daycare centers for adults. Students want trigger warnings before lectures, as if college, the place meant to expand your mind, has suddenly become too dangerous for ideas.
Goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, no, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your and making you feel wonderful and all.
Imagine that you pay $70,000 a year just to avoid discomfort. But Martha Pollack wasn't having it. When students demanded trigger warnings, she firmly said no. No new dean of sensitivity, no safe space for every uncomfortable thought, just no. College is for learning, not coddling. And honestly, that single word no is more courageous than half the Hollywood speeches we've heard in the past decade.
With your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating.
And Maher nails it. If more universities had that kind of backbone, we'd be raising leaders instead of fragile ideologues who crumble at the slightest challenge. Think about it. This generation prides itself on being edgy, liberated, and unapologetically bold. They'll post the most outrageous, degrading stuff on TikTok for likes, but if you say something that doesn't fit the script, it's instant outrage, tears, and demands for cancellation. How does that even make sense? Next up, Trader Joe's, and oh man, this one's hilarious. For years, Trader Joe's has sold quirky products with names like Trader Jose for their beer, and nobody cared. But then one teenager on Twitter decided, hey, that's racist. Suddenly, there's a petition, the mob is fired up, and everyone expects Trader Joe's to fold, issue a long apology, and rename it something like beverage from an unspecified region.
Next award goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition, and then Trader Joe's management did the right thing. They burnt down all their stores and killed themselves. No, they didn't. They said, F off, you oversensitive little sh**.
But Trader Joe's didn't play along. They told the mob, no, these labels aren't racist. We're not changing them. We don't make decisions based on petitions. Mic drop. And guess what? Nothing happened. Customers didn't stop shopping there, the brand didn't collapse, and the mob screamed for about 48 hours before moving on like they always do.
A life and a sense of humor, and released this statement. We disagree that any of these labels are racist, and we do not make decisions based on petitions. You see how easy it is? So to the home of the 19-cent banana, here, have some nuts.
And that right there is the lesson. Cancel culture only has power if you give it to them. If you stand your ground for a few days, their outrage fades because they've already moved on to the next thing to be angry about. That's what Maher's been saying all along. Stop apologizing, stop groveling, and stop letting people use fake outrage to control you. Because at the end of the day, the mob doesn't want an apology, they want submission. And once you give it, they'll never stop demanding more. But Maher didn't stop at universities and supermarkets. He turned his attention to Hollywood itself. And let's be honest, Hollywood is ground zero for virtue signaling. This is the same crowd that swore they'd leave America if Trump became president. Remember that? Miley Cyrus, George Lopez, Eddie Griffin, all promising to pack up and go. Yet 4 years of Trump went by, and guess what? They're still here, still sipping champagne in Beverly Hills, still walking red carpets, still cashing checks, and not a moving truck in sight.
There's a long list of liberal celebrities who swear they'll go if a Republican is elected, and no one ever does. Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan.
It's all just performance empty words for clout. Hollywood celebrities love to talk about courage, resistance, and morality, but the second their careers or bank accounts are at risk, those values disappear. They're not thought leaders, they're entertainers. Their moral compass points wherever the applause is loudest. And Maher drove that point home perfectly with one example: comedy. Comedy has always thrived on pushing boundaries. It's meant to make you uncomfortable, that's the whole point.
In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here.
Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Joe Rogan, even Rob Schneider comedians who dared to joke about the wrong thing suddenly found themselves treated like criminals. Yet comedy remains one of the few spaces where truth still manages to slip through, because behind almost every offensive joke, there's usually a bit of reality that people are too afraid.
Next Kahoni goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special and replaced it with more episodes of Who Wants to Watch Koreans Get Killed. But instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass" never sound better, this is for you.
Maher pointed out Ben Stiller's film, Tropic Thunder, a movie critics have been attacking for years. And what did Stiller do? He said, "I make no apologies, I'm proud of it. That's it." And guess what? His career didn't end. He still gets commercials, he still works, and he's doing just fine because the mob is only as powerful as you let it be.
When movie lovers get together these days, one phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will have your cojones.
And that's Maher's ultimate point: cancel culture is all smoke and mirrors, a loud, angry storm that blows over in a day or two. If you have the guts to stand your ground, you'll be fine. But if you fold, bow down, and start apologizing for things that don't even need apologizing for, that's when you lose. So when Maher roasted Hollywood, it wasn't just for laughs, it was a reality check. Stop treating celebrities like moral authorities. Stop giving cancel culture power it doesn't really have. Look at Martha Pollack. Look at Trader Joe's. Look at Ben Stiller. Resistance works. Courage pays off. And if there's one thing we desperately need right now, it's people willing to stop bowing and start standing. Because here's the truth: defiance isn't dangerous, it's necessary. And if we lose that, we lose comedy, free thought, and common sense. So, what do you guys think? Is Maher right that cancel culture only has as much power as we give it? Or can the mob actually destroy careers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you see it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still thinks Trader Joe's is racist for selling Trader Jose. Because if there's one thing cancel culture hates, it's when people stop being afraid of it.